Hey, everybody, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is not Degeneration X, but it kind of feels like Generation X right now. My name is Chris Maloney, London, Ontario, Canada, alongside Sean Bates of the Scumbags of Wrestling. Sean, how's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. It's been an interesting week, should I say. But yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, interesting week, interesting day. You prep for a show like this, and we're still growing at everything else, but I have my notes and everything I want to talk about. And then, sure enough, and I'm going to break the swearing jar right here, the shit show that took place today, as far as pretty much everything related to sports and everything related to pro wrestling. And it was just a nuts day. And I get home from work and I'm online. It's one article after another, after another, after another. So pretty much scrapped most of the show. As you can see behind us, Kyle Boone is one of our guests tonight. The other guest I'm going to bring on right now, if he is ready, and I'm trying to see if he is ready. I'm going to bring him on anyways. It's Jonesy. So, Jonesy, you there?
I am there. I'm here. I can see me.
Is that a Cookie Monster shirt?
No, it's a jack. It's a donkey.
Oh, it's a Don't worry. I already said shit show today, so you can say jackass.
Jackass.
All right. So Sean and I were just talking with regards to the week it's been, the day it's been. I'm going to go through just a bit of a list here. Some of it is a little bit unconfirmed. Most of it, 99%, is confirmed. WWE moves Friday SmackDown to the Performance Center. Fast and the Furious 9 release dates pushed back to 2021. AEW reschedules Rochester Dynamite date planned for next week unknown. They followed that up with a move to Jacksonville, Florida for next week. Prudential Center postpones March events, including AEW Blood and Guts. So that's official. Blood and Guts is either happening someplace else or postponed. AEW NXT ratings down against coronavirus news coverage. Florida County officials delay taking action on WrestleMania for a week. WWE issues a statement on WrestleMania 36 status. Evolve postpones this weekend show to May. OTT cancels Scrappermania 6. WXW WrestleMania Week 16 Karat Gold Revenge shows now canceled. XFL is no longer happening this year. ROH goes and posts an update with regards to, hey, nothing is changing. Best Wrestling on the Planet will be proceeding as planned with all the current events and activities. Then they follow up. They cancel a meet and greet today. That's courtesy of PWInsider.com. Then they officially made an announcement online saying ROH 18th anniversary and past versus present shows canceled this coming weekend. So Holy News Day, on top of the NCAA tournaments not taking place anymore, they were going to take place in empty arenas. Plus the fact you've got NHL on suspension, NBA on suspension, MLS on suspension. Something going on with Premier League Soccer right now. I think one of their players tested positive for coronavirus. So if you're unaware of what's going on right now, it's this right here, this COVID-19 coronavirus. So I'm going to put it to both of you guys, individual responses, because I want to hear what you have to say. Is this being hyped way too much? Are they simply trying to contain what's taking place? And are we going to see WrestleMania happen in Tampa this year? Sean, we'll get your thoughts first.
I think maybe it's a little overhyped, unfortunately. Yes, it is spreading. I feel sorry for anybody who's getting ill from it, but at the same time, how many people are dying from the regular flu, cancer, starvation, and God knows what else is out there? And just because this is something new, it's SARS 2003 all over again, I guess, for us with coronavirus.
Without a concert.
Without a concert, that's true. No concert yet. But yeah, because everything else is getting canceled, all sporting events. And I think if WrestleMania does happen, it might end up happening just at the Performance Center, because Vince is very stubborn to want to cancel stuff. He's not going to make any money or lose any. Well, he's going to lose a lot of money by it not being in Tampa, but he's still wants to keep on going. That's why, Full Sail was booked last night, and so they moved it to the Performance Center for NXT. And if they're actually out of Detroit for tomorrow night and doing the Performance Center, you can tell that Vince still wants to keep going, and WrestleMania will happen one way or another. Jones?
If WrestleMania happens, it will be in an empty building. it's doomed now. Is Major League Baseball canceled yet?
Yep.
Yeah,
Everything's
it has.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Spring training
right now,
is done.
Yeah, the season openers have been pushed at least a couple of weeks. So
well, March break now for the kiddies is going to be 3 weeks long.
yeah, my wife was pretty excited about that one. That's you think about it on top of everything else. So E3 was canceled, S by SW, so South by Southwest was canceled as well. People from Europe can't enter into the US for the next 30 days. There's talks today about Justin Trudeau, our prime minister, being quarantined for the next 14 days. It's absolutely insane what's going on. And you guys talk about concerts and stuff like that, which you know is going to happen. But concerts left and right being canceled. Sasha Banks apparently put out some kind of rap or remix CD or something like that. She's not doing the music tour now because the fact is she doesn't want to get sick. So here's another question for you guys. And this isn't as crazy as it seems, but would Vince McMahon take WrestleMania and move it to a state that's not being affected by the coronavirus?
I think by then it's going to be too late.
Yeah, US will probably all be shut down everywhere. It's only a matter of time before Trump ends up actually shutting down the border between Canada and US and not wanting anybody to come in because he's already said no to anybody from Europe. And Italy's all shut down, so it won't surprise me if they shut down the US. And like at this rate, the way things are going, getting off the whole wrestling topic though, is if they're going to shut all these sports things down and different countries are forbidden, why not just shut the world down for a month, 2 weeks, a month, and let it play out, everybody quarantine and gets healed, and then you're not spreading it, and we're done with all the panic and resume the rest of the world.
So are we going to be able to survive the NWO not going to the Hall of Fame?
They'll get there eventually.
Oh my God, I totally forgot about that. How devastating.
Hey, as Bruce Pritchard always says on Something to Wrestle With, Hogan must pose. So one day Hogan will pose again, and everything will be right with the world.
Maybe he can pose on this show because he won't be doing anything else. One of the good things about the Hall of Fame, if it does take place, and I say if, it's WrestleMania, and it's a lot of money going into it, but again, it's the government, the state of Florida, whether or not they say no, it's Vince McMahon's not going to be able to make that call. British Bulldog officially being elected to the Hall of Fame. You guys surprised it took this long?
It's about time.
Now, Jones, I know you're a fan of old school wrestling. Would you have put him in first, or would you put the British Bulldogs in first?
I would have put the Bulldogs in first. Personally, yeah, British Bulldog was a good wrestler and entertaining, but not Hall of Fame material, sorry.
All right.
I think you did more.
And hey, it's the same as Coco Beware. I don't think he needs to be in there too. I mean, they can put him in, but they don't need a celebration. Just go, here's your ring, go fuck off.
Yeah, but Coco Beware didn't have a SummerSlam 92 match against Bret Hart at Wembley Stadium, which was one of the classics of all time.
Yeah, which Bulldog was totally out of it for, and Bret had to walk him through it. But
still a good match.
Yes, very true.
Hey, this is coming from
I'm not knocking Bulldog. I like Bulldog.
Yeah, but this is coming from a Macho Man fan over here saying he was out of it in that match. How many times was Macho Man out of it in his matches?
When?
Okay, you telling. Never mind. If WrestleMania takes place, we'll have a WrestleMania episode and we'll talk about our favorite matches, because I know one of Sean's is probably Steamboat and Savage, eh?
It's up there, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so Bret and Bulldog's up there for me.
That's what got me watching.
And Jones is just staying out of this. All right.
Well, hey, WrestleMania 3, I watched that match. Yes, it's a good match, but I don't think it's one of the better matches. No, I don't. It's a match. It tells a story, but it's not. It's like when people say, "Oh, the Beatles are the greatest." No, they're not. No.
I will be honest in saying that maybe that Steamboat Savage match was definitely one of the top 3 for a very long time. And over the years, now that we're approaching WrestleMania 36, it could be still in the top 10, but there's a lot more that's progressed since then.
Okay, Steamboat Savage or Hogan versus Rock?
Depends on what you're talking about. Whether you're talking about presentation wise or ring work.
Look, well, yeah, no, that's not even comparison though.
Exactly.
You talking about Hulk Hogan's ring work? Nah, forget about it.
No. If you're talking ring work, then obviously Savage Steamboat beats that. But because of it was more the fans and then the commentary who picked up on what was going on and played along with it that made Hogan Rock as good as it was. You watch that match in mute and you go, what am I watching? Why?
I was up in the 500 level for that, and the energy, as they say, I could feel it.
Yeah, I was on the floor for WrestleMania 18. It was exciting down there as well. Your guys' thoughts on Rob Gronkowski joining WWE? For those listening to audio, neither one of these guys are making good faces right now.
Yeah,
all right.
Sorry for the audio listeners, but snooze fest. Like the guy showed up at WrestleMania 33 and did a tackle on Jinder Mahal, allowing Mojo to win the Battle Royal. Whoop-dee-doo. Like how many? He's 30 years old and already retired from NFL. Whether it was depression or too many hits to the head, now he's going to try stepping into WWE. Yes, there's been a lot of former football players who went on to greatness, like Ernie Ladd in wrestling, and even maybe people like JBL, Hall of Famer for this year, and Jim Neidhart. But Gronk?
If Goldberg can do it, Gronk can do it.
You're only saying that because you're a Patriots fan.
I am a hardcore Patriots fan. We're probably going to be without Brady this coming year.
Anyways, what about Duggan?
Duggan's an exception.
I think he's probably one of the best guys that come out of football, going to wrestling. He stunk in the ring, but he had 10 times what the Bushwhackers had as far as fans loving them, and the Bushwhackers were huge.
The sheep herders, they were even better back then.
Oh, yeah.
All right. A little bit of controversy going on. So Sean and I were talking about a little bit off the air about this guy's name, but David Starr bids farewell to WXW during a match with Walter for OTT Wrestling last June. There was a spot where Starr stomped on Walter's NXT United Kingdom Championship. Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer says WWE didn't approve the David Starr stomping on Walter's NXT UK title. Nobody knew ahead of time. Walter and Starr made the call to shock people live, knowing it would get over huge. As you can imagine, the reaction from WWE was not positive. Many wrestlers thought it was disrespectful, and higher-ups weren't happy either. Starr has also been a vocal supporter for unionization in pro wrestling. Last guy I heard about this was Jesse the Body Ventura. Do you think it was disrespectful by David Starr, number one, to stomp on the title? Walter gave the go-ahead. Number two, do you guys ever think there's going to be a union in wrestling? And number three, do you think it's fair that this guy is banned from, well, not necessarily banned, but unofficially banned from OTT because it's affiliate with the WWE? Sean, your thoughts?
Well, regardless of Walter saying, go ahead, stomp on this title and create some heat, wonderful idea. But it wasn't approved by the guys who actually own the title. Had it been approved, then yeah, go for it. It's storyline. Get the heat, get the people butts in seats. But when it's not, it does look as a very disrespectful thing to a company that is allowing you to be in the same ring with their champion. Now, with the fact that he has been very vocal about WWE and the relationship that WXW and OTT and Progress and all of them have with WWE, if their unofficial farm system for WWE and potential NXT, Germany, and all those other places for them, would you want somebody in your company or in that company bad-mouthing you? It'd be like me when I worked at Harvey's, bad-mouthing them and saying, oh yeah, the food is garbage. Meanwhile, I'm still serving it up. They wouldn't want me behind the counter still doing that. And I wouldn't want somebody in my ring that's saying that the organization is crap. So he has to go.
Jones, what about you, your former Mickey D's employee?
Well, I was going to say Harvey's is a beautiful thing, but personally, I don't care about that. But yeah, if you're gonna do something without the approval of the people that own the belt, well, you're a dumbass.
All right, very good. Doug from MWW says Ron Simmons as far as football players go in the wrestling business, so I have to tend to agree with him there.
First African-American heavyweight champion.
Yes, he was. Your guys' thoughts on two more topics before we head into independent wrestling, because I want to have a good interview with Kyle Boone coming up. Colby Carino, NWA this week, as well as Tyson Dukes commenting on the search for Spears. Comments on either one of those guys?
Chris?
Nope.
Okay, so Carino being in the whole NWA thing, that's fine. Like, he's a second-generation wrestler. His dad, Steve, I believe, is working for NXT behind the scenes. Carino has a huge name from ECW. It's just like if anybody else was a second generation showing up on another organization, why not? And if he can get himself a deal with NWA as Billy Corgan's trying to grow that company, all the best. And they got that sort of tough enough show that they're doing in exchange at times for the regular NWA shows. As far as Tyson goes, I know he's been trying to get NWA's attention. Now that AEW is trying to do their thing with Shawn Spears and find him a tag team partner, it only makes sense to have somebody who's one of Shawn Spears' best friends. They're one part of the Ontario Four Horsemen. And if Tyson can get himself a deal with a group like AEW, great. You know, he'd be a wonderful thing in the ring, teaming with Shawn, and behind the scenes with all the new talent needing some experience since they're quite green.
Yeah, Tyson I could see easily fitting into that kind of backstage agent role as well, much like Dean Malenko. Whether or not he would like to travel that much, I don't know, but it'd be nice to see Tyson in that spotlight. AEW this week, 766, NXT 697, both shows down. Hangman and Dustin versus Jericho and Guerrero. Archer made his debut with Jake the Snake Roberts just in the crowd. And NXT had the Broserweights defeat Undisputed Era. Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano brawled through the Performance Center. Tegan Nox and Mia Yim qualified for TakeOver if it does take place. We're going to hit some indie wrestling now. And normally I go through the listings. However, last week I kind of got slapped because of the music I was playing in the background. So I'm going to leave it at that. We'll not be playing music.
By us or by YouTube?
No, it wasn't by YouTube this time. I made sure it was generic music. That wasn't. You know what that was from? That was from Matt Mania, the old arcade video game.
Yeah,
if you played
arcade game.
Yeah, well, we are old, all three of us. So.
Oh yeah, because then we want to have 8-bit MIDI going through here.
Hey, if I can play 8-bit and not get my hand slapped, I'm proud of that. So. But anyways, on topic, normally I do the show listings coming up, but because of what is going on with coronavirus right now, I was going to announce a few things. IWS Hardcore on Twitter, due to all events holding 250 people or more, including staff and talent, being canceled by the Quebec government. We regret to inform you the un-effing sanction has been postponed. That's a hard word to say. On May 17th at Club Soda, all tickets will be honored. We're sorry, fans. Real Canadian Wrestling out there in Alberta, shows still taking place on the 20th and 21st. However, the show in Vegreville on April 25th is gone. Seaway Valley Wrestling here in Ontario, March 20th show as planned. Evil Uno of the Dark Order. In the wake of all these cancellations, support the independents, be it wrestling, music, etc. Buy their merch, support them through Patreon, share their stuff. The gig economy is going to take a huge hit, and many don't have the safety net necessary to survive this. Josh Alexander, Impact Wrestling. For all those reading this, I've done. For all the reading I've done, I still feel safe wrestling in Canada. We're very low risk. International travel is beginning to be a cause for concern, unfortunately. Everyone's safety and health should be the number one concern. Head nods and peace signs from now on. So, guys, do you think we're not necessarily being affected in Ontario yet? No, there are a lot of shows coming up close to us: Toronto, London, St. Thomas, Listowel, obviously. Are you guys willing to take that risk to go to these independent shows to be part of the action, to see it live, knowing that there could be somebody there with the coronavirus?
Yeah, I have no issue with doing it unless they end up canceling. I still plan on going to the shows that I have tickets for. And yeah, I would hope that people who do have a sniffle or a fever are responsible enough to stay home, especially with all the news that's coming out right now, but not ruin it for anybody else. If it has a long gestation time, well, I got 2 weeks off.
All right, Jones, how about your thoughts on going to indie events here in Ontario?
I'd still go because I don't care about as far as if I get it, because if I get it, I'm strong enough, I'll kick its ass. And I think that one of these wrestling organizations need to have a bad guy that they call 19, and his finishing maneuver is he just coughs on you and they drop.
What's that?
19 coming for you, brother.
Was that your best Macho Man impression there?
No.
Oh, okay.
I could do a better Macho Man.
All right.
That's not Macho Man. It's a new wrestler called 19, and he debuts in 19 days.
Man, you know what? If this show ever takes off, we'll create our own wrestling promotion. How about that? Okay, both of them are shaking their heads for those listening on audio.
Why not?
Anyways, one more statement here, and this is by our good buddies at Midwestern Wrestling. So hello, Midwestern Wrestling fans, talent sponsors, and ticket holders. We've been assessing the information surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic and want to get some information to you all. Plan is, as things sit.
Oh, no.
Ontario as planned, of course, will be following the Perth District Health Unit in regards to changing developments, also monitoring Paddy Fest's progress as well, and they are maintaining their events as scheduled. They go on to say if anything changes in the next 2 weeks, they'll be sure to address the situation as soon as they possibly can. So good news by those at Midwestern Wrestling. Again, shows, about it'd be about 2 weeks away. Eh?
Yep.
So it is coming up quick. Before we get to Kyle Boone, I want to play you guys something that was sent to me earlier on today. So I got to figure out how to do this split screen thing again. It's going to be about 50% chance I'm going to do this right. So there we go. Share audio button. I actually hit it this time. So this was sent to me earlier today. Can you guys see this?
From Nug?
I spent a lot of time in Midwestern Ontario growing up. I lived in Milverton for a bit. My dad's family's from Millbank. My mom's family's from Newton. I spent a lot of time in Clinton, Ontario. And one constant moving down the town, no matter where we lived, I could always watch wrestling on TV. Wrestling was very important to me. And I remember when wrestling came to the arena in Clinton, I lost my mind. I couldn't believe all the action and all the pageantry that I loved was coming to my town. And now Midwestern Wrestling is doing the same. They're going to these towns and putting on shows with great talent and great action. And March 28th, they're going to be in Listowel, Ontario, where we played so much hockey against the Cyclones growing up, where I saw Return of the Jedi at the Capitol Twin Cinemas as a kid. Listowel is the heart of Midwestern Ontario. And on March 28th, Midwestern Wrestling comes to Listowel. And I thought, why am I not in Listowel for this show? Wrestling made such an impact on me growing up that I've ended up turning it into a job. I am on Rogers Sportsnet every Friday night on Sportsnet 360 talking wrestling. So why not go to Listowel? Why not come to one of these shows once again and enjoy the action I enjoyed so much when I was a kid? So March 28th, Midwestern Wrestling, Listowel, Ontario. Nug's going to be there. Don't you dare miss it.
So the announcement by Nug of being at NWW next, 2 weeks from now. Thoughts?
Good for them. Good for Listowel.
Yeah, it definitely will give them a nice shot in the arm because, as we know, they put on awesome shows from the first one that we did in November. And if you get somebody like Nug attending it, he's going to go back to Rogers. And when they do Aftermath, he might give a shout out to them with how great the show was for their shot number 2, and that puts people Googling it and wondering what is this. And if he does his part, that's more eyes on Midwestern Wrestling for shot number 3 and beyond. So it's only going to help build their brand.
And it's a good thing he's doing.
Yeah, I just want to mention 2 more things about Nug. Number 1, when the Buffalo Brothers accident had taken place, and that was last year in January, I believe, wasn't it? Yeah. So Aftermath had pointed that out on TV and had did what they could to, as far as the GoFundMe account and everything else. Also, when they had the tryouts, I think this past summer, Nug was one of the guys who had put over Tarek. So they are fans of not only the pro wrestling scene, but the independent wrestling scene as well. So it is good to see. While we're waiting for Kyle Boone to come on, Sean, I'll get your thoughts and updates on the only March Madness tournament taking place this month. What's going on with this?
Let's see. Last time we were on was last week. That was the 6th, something like that.
Last week was the 5th. Yeah.
Last week was 5th. Okay, so Jody Threat ended up beating Kyle Boone that day. Scotty O'Shea took out Gabriel Foreza. Daniel Garcia beat the Night Train, Justin Sane. Tyson Dukes beat Congo Kong. Psycho Mike Rollins took out John Greed. Sebastian Suave won over Nova. And today is Lionel Knight lost to Casey Spinelli. And today is Beautiful Bia and Carter Mason, the King of the North. So there's only 4 more days in the first round, and then we'll move on to the second round with the matchups. They can keep a track of our Facebook page on Scumbags Wrestling every morning around 7 a.m. I close the day before's voting, and you can vote for the next matchup and go forward. Like I said, last year it was down to Tyson and Tarek, and Tyson ended up winning with everybody's votes. And could he do it again? Who knows? Maybe somebody else will come out. I know a lot of people have been also questioning some of the matchups of how hard it is to choose between somebody they really like and when they're both against each other. This tournament's not going to be easy. There's top 32 people in this bracket, so anything can happen. And it's going to be fun. Just join us every morning.
All right. Now you said Beautiful B versus is it Carter Mason on right now?
Carter Mason today.
Yeah, and if you go back about 6 months ago, I was like, nah, fuck Carter Mason. But now I'm turning into a fan of Carter Mason, so I actually did vote for him. Beautiful B, as B or Bay?
Bia.
Bia. So Beautiful Bia, I've never actually seen wrestle live before. You guys?
I've seen her once in Sarnia.
Jones at a yes or no?
I can't remember.
She took on Shotzi Blackheart at one of the Destiny shows before Aaron became Ken Valley.
No, so she took on some female wrestler is what you're saying.
Yes.
She might double book herself.
Exactly.
All right, so while we're still waiting, Sean, you want to touch base right now on the Ontario Independent Wrestling Podcast Network? What are your thoughts on where it's going? Website's still on the mend. Well, I shouldn't say on the mend, but it's on the horizon. It's kind of cool because the fact is I was doing the social media aspect of it as well as the website. And then I was like, you know what? Let's give up whatever I can to other people to help out. One guy took over the Twitter feed, which was absolutely amazing. So that's helped out a lot. He's been posting nonstop. The other cool thing is the guy, I forget who it was, but whoever took over, I think it was one of the guys from Ocho and Ortiz, but one of those guys had taken it over. So I'm seeing stuff that I wouldn't necessarily have recognized beforehand. One of the things that got dropped today was actually an interview with PCO done by George McKay from Straight Talk Wrestling. Sean, have you had a chance to listen to that interview yet?
Actually, it is next up on my playlist. Just finishing off JR with Ken Anderson, and then I was going to go on to PCO because I know he just recently dropped the ROH championship. So I wanted to find out what was going on there and how that interview goes. I know George has been great in tagging Scumbags Wrestling. I have to apologize. I'm really horrible at posting and tagging on anything beyond Facebook, but it's a work in progress. And I think with the 13, of us that are involved, we will have everything covered one way or another.
Now, Jones, you're not involved, but you are involved. What are your thoughts on doing all of this from your point as as an Ontario independent wrestling fan?
I think it's good. I think it's good to get a network going and just sharing everything that everyone has.
Sorry, I'm just
done.
I'm gonna get used to it's one of those things when you're talking to people live on air or doing an interview. It's like you're not expecting, you're expecting them to talk a lot. You're expecting them to talk a little. Sean, you would know this from, you had interviewed, who was it, Cody Diener at one point?
Yeah, we did that interview last year about his Giver for Charity, and about a half hour just sitting at Harvey's.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that is Diener is one of those guys that can actually talk, eh?
Yeah, and it was actually a smooth conversation and just talking about what he had going on. Not much of the past because, everybody talks about the past stuff and, you can look that up anywhere. But we talked a lot of current things that were going on in his life. And it was a half hour just chatting away.
Yeah, so like I said, some of those guys will talk a lot. Some of those guys will not talk much at all. One of the things I want to mention as well, just while we get some time here. So we officially signed up for Patreon. What that is, if you don't know about it, you're probably living under a rock. But case is, I put it out there. We had one person sign up immediately. So a friend of mine, but thanks for the support, Gigi. Anyways, I said on the Patreon page that basically what I'll do is do a shout out to everybody who actually signs up on a weekly basis, as well as what I'll do is if I hit that initial goal, we'll have a co-host on here. So whether it be just random or we'll have a different person every month just co-host with us, that'd be cool. Sean, you had thought about doing a Patreon before for Scumbags. Not the easiest thing in the world to set up, eh?
Yeah, it's a little difficult in a way, but I didn't find it too hard as far as signing up. My biggest issue is figuring out the levels, what I hope somebody was willing to pay, but also obviously you have to put out extra content in exchange for that, and that's how it would work out best. And yeah, I just haven't had enough time to figure out the content that I have and offering more that would be worthy of Patreon.
So you guys, and I'm still getting a feel for Patreon because it is new to me. What is something that if you're on Patreon that you guys want to see that you're willing to pay money for, whether it be wrestling or whatever the case may be? Is it free merch? Is it shout outs? Is it old school videos? Is it podcasts that aren't released? I mean, what do you guys look forward to that it's going to make you shell out your money?
Chris?
Well, I'm living under a rock. I know what Patreon is, but I have never even gone on their page. So maybe I will now. But as far as what I pay for extra to watch, if it's a subject that I'm really interested in, yeah, as long as it's not, it'd be about half of what I'm paying for Netflix. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, I know the guys over at Post for signing up. You get stickers, and you're in or in postcards and stuff like that. Plus, you're in a draw to get merch. That's a possible hook for doing it. There's also the thought of being that co-host as you were possibly offering up, and just the special podcasts that they can maybe get early. I know Tony Schiavone with his drops it on Monday for people who pay, and it's commercial free, as opposed to those who don't pay. They get it for Wednesday and they throw in their commercials.
Yeah, so it is one of those things that's actually pretty cool because of the freedom that comes along with it. Hopefully Kyle does come on. I messaged him a couple of times here, but anyways, we will wait patiently for him.
Maybe he's in the lineup at No Frills.
Oh, did you see that?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard it on the radio all day.
Oh, you actually heard it on the radio?
Yeah. Like they're reporting on the radio. I know that in the Niagara region, there's pretty much not many stores that have toilet paper right now.
I was just at Food Basics by my house, and everybody was coming out with loads of toilet paper. And I'm just thinking, are you not seeing the side effects of coronavirus? It's fever. It's aches and pains. It's not diarrhea.
Yeah, it's funny because my wife had showed me a picture of one of her coworkers in the lineup, and No Frills actually. And the thing was all the way to the back wall, like it was like snake style, you know what I mean? And I'm like, holy crap, like literally. But what are these people waiting for? What are they buying? I mean, if we're in a crisis,
some of them have lineups to get in.
To get in the actual store.
Yes.
Okay, that's kind of insane. I
mean,
and
then you have also the fact that I guess Costco has sold out at least 3 times over of their industrial packs of toilet paper. I don't get it.
Okay, but
unless you're going to TP a indie house show, you don't need it.
But that's actually Costco, though. That shouldn't surprise you.
I've heard some rumors around here that the hotels and that they're having problems with people looting their carts. Toilet paper is being taken off of the carts in hotels.
That's just ridiculous.
No,
actually, I think I heard somebody had an open house for selling their house, and they took it right off the roll.
All right, so it is getting bad. We'll go from coronavirus and toilet paper into what Smash Wrestling just announced online, and this I'm actually looking forward to. So we've got Psycho Mike Rollins taking on RJ City. You guys seen RJ City before in person?
I think I've seen him once, but that was a long time ago. Possibly at Tri-City in Kitchener. Though I have seen the fact that he does a Sunday morning video podcast in his underwear serving coffee, and he's good friends with David Arquette, and David and him did a Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast when they were in LA. We lost him. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our host has actually stepped away for a moment because he hit the wrong button. And
you're now the host.
I'm now the host. Hey, Jonesy, what do you think?
I did watch Elimination Chamber.
You did.
What were
your thoughts on Elimination Chamber?
I thought it wasn't too bad. I like the fact that they got rid of the red cage, and Maloney's back. And I thought actually the women's Elimination Chamber match was done very well. It was the most entertaining match of the evening.
Yeah, I was before I disappeared, I was going to bring that up. I only caught half of what you guys were saying. You both see Elimination Chamber?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
So surprised of some of the results or expected?
For myself, mostly expected. It didn't help that they so predetermined or like set in motion the whole Shayna Baszler win. I would say that match would have been 10 times better because I agree with Chris that it was a good match, but had it not been this already telegraphed fact that Shayna Baszler was going to be in there and she had already attacked Becky beforehand, it was just like, okay, how are they going to get to this ending? Now, I said to probably on here before, but I also talked to others throughout the week that if they had just put in Mickie James instead of Shayna Baszler, yes, Mickie James still injured, but if people had thought one of those 6 without Shayna was a contender for the title, and then you have Mickie James taken out because she's still injured, and not know who it is, and then Shayna comes out that night, as a surprise and does what she did that night, that would have made it 100 times better, because it would have been the shock factor and how she plowed through everybody and eliminated all 5 women in quick fashion and dominant. I would have found more meaning in that than her coming in and doing her little vampire gig 3 weeks ago.
All right. How about Sami Zayn as the Intercontinental Champion, finally getting the title out there?
Surprised me.
Jones?
Meh.
All right.
Well, considering Sammy's been more relegated to a manager role, that's where it surprised me.
So do we ever hear any kind of confirmation at all why he was delegated to manager?
No idea.
So it's, I mean, he's one. When you think about guys who went down, Canadians, anyways, he was one of the best. Kevin Owens obviously was one of the best. Kevin Owens obviously got the push Sami Zayn should have. Do you think? Here's a question for you, because we've been political this whole entire show. Do you think it's political views which has stopped Sami Zayn from, being a kind of a top Carter, so to speak?
No, I wouldn't say it so, because that stopped Kevin Owens from being in that position.
No, not necessarily. Not, I guess, but
and they're basically they obviously are best friends, and he supports them on that. It's their political issues that Saudi Arabia has that prevents him from going over there, and they respect the fact that he doesn't do that, because if they didn't, he would have been bounced from being in the company for not complying or being able to do so. But you also have somebody like Aleister Black, because of his tattoos, he can't go over. So I don't think anything with Sami is involved with political or lifestyle views.
So you is that what it comes down to with Aleister Black? Because that's the one thing I never understood, is why he wasn't able to go over there.
Yeah, because his tattoos are sort of Satanistic or like Antichrist type tattoos, and they don't want him over there.
Okay, that would kind of make sense. This is what happens when you don't prep for a show past an interview. Anyways, guys, anything that's on your mind that we haven't talked about?
Well, one thing. So I know some form of announcement is coming for London, and I believe it has something to do with the Comic-Con and something to do with wrestling. You ponder to guess what it could be?
Something to do with a guy named Jake?
Yes.
All I know,
I've seen his comments, and the one that he had up there was like a, kind of a little teaser. Anybody care to guess what it could be?
Sean's got that look on his face like he knows something, but he's not allowed to say something.
Well, I don't know everything. I did ask him if his meeting went well. And I'm not sure how public. Well, it was a little bit public, at least on our page. A conversation that he had about a couple of guests that I think are confirmed for Comic-Con from AEW.
All right. We will stop on that note. Reason for it, hopefully that's I can't see Kyle drinking a beer, but I guess we'll have to see and we'll ask him. Anyways, we do have Kyle on the line, so we're going to do an official introduction, and then we'll get into the interview here. For anybody that's a big fan of Kyle like myself, glad to have him on the show. So let me see here. Smash Wrestling is taking place at Fairchild College March 27th. The Wavemaker Kyle Boone taking on Tarek, which was just announced, I think, a few days ago. MWW, of course, Midwestern Wrestling, Listerville, Ontario, March 28th. Kyle Boone taking on Justin Sane. Anyways, folks, he's making waves and slamming babes. Please welcome the Wavemaker, Kyle Boone. Kyle, you there?
Hey, everyone. I'm Kyle Boone, the Wavemaker. Again, just like you said, make waves, slam babes. What's up with you guys?
Not much. How you doing tonight?
It's funny. I was in like the little waiting thing for a while. I was like, you know what? Maybe I should scroll down, and it's like enter broadcast. Yeah, that maybe would have been a good idea like 15
Sometimes
minutes
that
ago.
Yeah, we're just kind of throwing topics around, hoping that you'd show up. But anyways,
Yeah.
so yeah, announced just recently you taking on Tarek coming up at Fanshawe, just insane taking up at Midwestern Wrestling. What match are you looking forward to the most? Or are you looking forward to both?
I think I'm looking forward to Just Insane the most, just because I've gone against Tarek and he chops real hard.
You survived it.
I barely survived that. I took about like 15, 16 chops that day. I took like 10 chops in a row. I was like, oh, thank God it's done. And then I got hit like 5 more times after that. And I was like, I almost gave up. I don't know. I was like, just win, just beat me.
All right, so I got to know myself, and Sean, you probably already know the story. Why is Kyle Boone in the wrestling business? What prompted you to hit up Tyson's school?
Well, I've been a fan since I was just a stupid baby. So I had 4 older brothers. 2 of them watched it growing up. So I watched, and they had like the DVDs and stuff like that. So I saw some of the Attitude Era, and I saw like Ruthless Aggression. I grew up with Ruthless Aggression. My man Randy Orton and Triple H, I always loved them. So I was like, I kind of looked up to these guys as a kid. It's like, even though they were bad guys, I always like looked up to them. I was like, these guys are so badass and cool. And then so it was like, even when I was a little kid, I always wanted to just be like, you know what, I don't care about school. I just kind of want to go do that. And then growing up, watching like Chris Jericho and stuff, I was like, that's the guy who I want to be. I want to be like Chris Jericho.
So do you actually remember your first day at the school?
First day, yeah. I was there the second day. So it opened the one day, and then I came the next day, and it had Jim Strider, Chris Mitchells, and Jordan James, and like one other person. He's not around anymore, but it was funny. I took a cab, and we got lost. We got lost right away because it was in the Velodrome, and it was like, where is this place? I messaged Tyson so many times. I'm like, where are you guys? And he's like, it's just in this like back room, like Rocky style, like just this like grungy place. And I was like, this is sketchy. This is sketchy, but it's like, it's kind of cool. It was so I met Tyson, met all the boys, and then it was just like history from there, I guess.
All right. So your thoughts on being part of the original 6? I mean, the school's been progressing. You've been seeing a lot of factory students at some of the Smash shows and stuff like that. Is that always going to hold a special place in your heart, no matter where you end up?
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't know. You don't forget where you started, I guess, and going on from the original 6, like you'll still see them around. I love going against every single one of them. I love going against the newer guys as well. To call out a couple, Rodney Matthews and Michael Grayson. Those guys are going to be like really good coming up, and like just keep your eye on those guys.
Yeah, I guess I think I saw that they're going to be forming a tag team called Books and Looks.
Yeah.
And they're going to be going against Halal Beefcake in St. Thomas on April 19th. So
yeah, can't wait for that.
I actually was going to ask you, because of you being one of the original 6 who have been impressing you of the newer students, but you basically just answered that. But if you were going to say somebody other than Books and Looks, who else would you pick?
Josh Pine. He's been training, guys. He's been training.
The lifeguard on duty, Josh Pine.
He's we're getting him in the ring a lot more, so we'll see what happens with him. So,
all right, I want to touch base on that. So when you first came in, and don't take offense to this, but squeaky clean, you know what I mean? You had this, look that wasn't the same as what we're seeing now.
Yeah, I call it the jobber look. The jobber look is plain as can be. I had a gold phoenix on my pants, and I was, and then you guys might know Shiloh. She helped me out a lot with my gimmick, my character, things like that. She told me about like trying to do this like Malibu Ken gimmick. So it would have been like Malibu, and then me being dumb enough that I didn't realize that I had to just scroll down to join this chat. I was like, yeah, I could be a surfer. Malibu Ken was never a surfer, I don't think. He might have been a couple times, but but yeah, so I took the surfer gimmick and took how I was from Malibu. Completely different because I'm actually from a small town where it like has like 1,000 people village. But now I'm like trying to like just like now I like research like little surf terminology. I and with the whole Josh gimmick with the lifeguard, I already had in my mind that I was going to do the surf gimmick. And when I was talking to Josh in practice, he already trained before he started as my lifeguard, and he said a joke to me, and I was like, this guy would be perfect as like a little sidekick. This guy would be awesome as a little sidekick, like because he's funny and like he's like skinny guy. Like he could take bumps. He can take a lot of bumps, which I don't have to take. He's who was it? It was like Ralphus to Jericho in WCW. That's how I pictured it. I was like Jericho's personal security. I was like, I need one of those, but like I need to do it different. A lifeguard. I joked about it at first, and I was like, but then I talked to Josh. I was like, wait a minute. Hey, do you want to do like a lifeguard gimmick? Like manage me? Like the odd time we'll tag up. We'll tag up sometimes, but like mainly manager. We'll just focus on character. We'll get the wrestling down later. Focus on what people actually want to see. You know.
Yeah, I was trying to find a good promo pic for the show. The one that's actually posted is from Ethan's fight that you were a part of. Took on Jake Jones at Montcalm. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Jake Jones is a great guy. We're actually good friends in the wrestling business, and that match was we opened the show that day, and I won with jackknife cover, and it was a sweet match actually. We got the crowd involved. We got everyone like into it. It was for a good cause and everything. It was funny. I almost missed that show because I don't check my messages. I don't check my messages enough. Like when you contacted me about doing this show, I was just checking my messages that day. I was like, good thing I saw this because I almost missed that booking. Good thing Cadet Tom from who wrestles as well. He got a hold of me like in person. He's like, hey, like, have you seen your messages? And I'm like, no, why? I have like 30 unread messages. And he's like, well, there's a charity show. I'm like, oh shit. So I got into it like the last minute I could. So I was happy to help though, you know? So
yeah,
both Sean, a good show.
Yeah, Sean and I were front row for that one. Something else we were front row for was your match against Psycho Mike and the whole swimming pool incident. That's gonna stand out as the highlight so far, eh?
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite matches to date. Psycho Mike is so good in the ring where he's such a good character but such a good wrestler at the same time. I feel like a lot of people you can't find that balance with a lot of people. It's either you're too much of a gimmick or you're too much of a gimmick where you don't really have any wrestling in there, where it's like so now you're missing out on that one attribute. And then sometimes it's like you're too much of a wrestler and no gimmick. So Psycho Mike is like that perfect, like his gimmick's way up here, his wrestling's like right there as well. And putting a match together with him, it was great. Like we messaged each other before the show and like be like, hey man, like, you know, it'd be funny just joking around and stuff. It's like it's just like throwing out like stupid ideas and stuff, and it's like we were even like thinking about running around the ring and like Josh like whistling at him like no running in the pool. And I'm just like, yeah, no running around the ring. I was like, nah, we can do better. We can do better. And then that's when the pool got involved. It's like, so how can we get a pool involved? I was like, I'm sure someone has a pool. We'll figure it out. So we figured it out day of. We got the pool. I was like, you don't know how you guys are gonna do this, but just figure it out. So we like filled up it out of the sink, put it underneath the ring. We can't put two.
Bail it out.
Yeah. It was so I in the match I popped so hard. I'm like dying, but I'm like low key smiling because he's like he can't swim, so he's like he's bailing out the water with the cups, and like this guy has a beer full to the top, and he just hands him the cup, downs a whole beer just so quickly. I was like respect.
Hey, a question for you when it comes to Smash Wrestling. How much leadways Sebastian give you guys?
On like everyone or like factory guys?
No, as far as putting a match together goes. I mean, the whole swimming pool thing. I mean, it was comical. It was one of those matches that you remember that night.
So Suave is actually he's one of like the biggest supporters when it comes to things like that. Like when it comes to like comedy and like character based stuff. He it was actually his kid's pool. It was his kid's pool. We broke it. So he was all for it. He's like a goddamn imagine like Vince McMahon. He's like, this is good shit. And so like he has he's very happy when it comes to that stuff. He's a lot of times he's like, don't even tell me what you guys are gonna do, because he wants to watch it himself at that point.
Yeah, that allows him to still be a fan while still doing the business side of things. So
yeah, exactly.
It's a nice balance for him.
So when you're not tanning and working out and building Josh Pine up, what are some of your favorite hobbies outside of the wrestling ring?
Well, I love. I actually work at a gym as well. It's Crunch Fitness, and I work out quite a bit. I love working out. I do like weight training, like bodybuilding, sometimes CrossFit, but I've hurt myself doing CrossFit a couple times, and I'm like, so I like stay back. I hold back off that because I'm like, screw that. But besides that, I don't know. I just
We lost
Shiloh. There we go. You guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, we just I just hang out. Like me and Shiloh do a lot of stupid stuff together. Like you see how messed up my life is when I do all this stupid stuff, and it's like she's the exact same. So we get into a lot. We get into a lot of like, let's call them shenanigans. And
is that Shiloh in the background we hear?
Yeah. She's just playing a game back there. Like you should see her outfit just in this like
Welcome to join us.
this rag ass sweater, glasses, little sweatpants.
All right,
Love you too.
This might be a biased question, and maybe have her plug her ears for this one. But who's the toughest female wrestler in Ontario today?
I would say Jody Threat.
Yeah, that was one of the things. I seen a picture of you in a match with her, and I was like, man, that probably was one of your toughest.
Yeah, that was in Barrie, and also I went against her in a gauntlet match in Smash in London. I've always loved Jody. Like she's one of my favorite wrestlers around. I've always thought that like her like facial work and like her like moveset, and like she looks so strong and like so good in the ring that I'm like every single time she's in the ring, it's like that's gonna be a good match. Same with Alexia Nicole. It's like that's gonna be a good match as soon as they're in there. It's like it's gonna be good. It's I think it was Alexia Nicole versus Garcia at Hustle Brand, maybe like a month or two ago, and I was like, I wasn't gonna be at the show, but I was like, man, like that would be one of my favorite matches right now. It's just like I love Garcia. He's fucking wild.
Yeah.
And going against, if he was to go against Alexia or Jody, I'd be like, this is gonna be the best match on the card, 100%. Unless it was me or Shiloh on there.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with a Daniel Garcia match. I've definitely been impressed with him since I first saw him at the Comic-Con when him and Blackwood first showed up in Smash. So good choice.
I'm going to hit you with some rapid fire. So one word or phrase for each of the next 10 names. You good for this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. First name, Kyle Boone.
Wave maker, and wait, I'm gonna give a few words. He's a babe. He's a hunk. He's a stud. He's a babe. He's cool. He's a babe. All right.
Next name, Tyson Dukes.
Great wrestler.
All right. Next name. Oh, go ahead.
Do you only want one? Do you only want one word or just like one?
No, it could be one word or a statement.
Okay.
All right. Next, Josh Pine.
Josh Pine. Lifesaver.
Next one on the list, Sebastian Suave.
Mentor.
All right. Gail Kim.
Idol.
Is that for you or for Shiloh?
For me. I've always loved her.
All right. Next on the list, Cody Deaner.
Cody Deaner. I would like to go against him. I don't know how to say that any other way, but I would like to work a match with him.
All right. Psycho Mike Rollins.
Good guy and one of the funniest guys I've ever met.
All right. Next is not a person, but a thing, Tyson Dukes Wrestling Factory.
Great place to train. Great place to start off. Like people dream about this stuff all the time. So if you just got to go do it, and that's the place where to go. And one of the best around. So.
All right. Last two names, Shiloh Polly.
Babe.
And last name on the list is Kyle Bogart.
Kyle Bogart. I don't know who that guy is. He sounds like a scrub.
Good enough. Fan question came in for you. Ask Kyle how many energy drinks he's consumed in the last 24 hours.
Actually, it's been 3. I drink so many Monsters, and it's like a scary amount. I actually have a coffee right here. So it's like energy. I work nights as well, so it's like I'm always up. I work like 11 to 3, so I'm always needing energy drinks and stuff like that. So you won't see me at a show without a white Monster.
Oh, geez. All right, I got to ask one more question because it is WrestleMania season. Dream opponent in the WrestleMania main event for you versus somebody else. Who's this going to be?
Out of anyone in the world?
Anyone in the entire world.
You know this answer.
Is it Triple H? Is that what you're thinking? Yeah? All right, yeah. I would say I'm going to say 4. I'm going to say 4 names, sorry. Triple H would be my number 1. I would want Batista to come back one last time because I love Batista. I was watching a couple of his matches. I was like, fuck, I want to go against him. Randy Orton and Chris Jericho. Those are my 4. So let's just say a 5-way match with us.
Yeah, I could definitely see a highlight match between you and Chris Jericho. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, I'd love that. And totally possible with AWB and things. So.
For sure. Guys, any questions for Kyle before we get him hit up on social media?
Just wondering if you have any funny road stories, considering all the people that you hit the road with, whether it's the van with Tyson or with Shiloh and Josh.
Well, one that comes to mind is anytime we ride with Jordan James, he is always like a stickler for like being on time. Like he'll always try to be like 2 hours ahead of time. I'm like, dude, like we'll be there, we'll get there. Like super like calm, and then super calm and all that. And I literally just want to go get food. And I was like, I need to go to the bathroom and I want food because I haven't ate all day. And Shiloh was like, whoa, look at that grass. And like we're just coming up on like this en route, and like it was like a John Deere place, and it's like she's like, wow, look at that grass. And then Jordan looks, he's like, whoa, that's really nice grass. And I'm like, I'm like, hey, like you gotta turn the en routes right there. And he just goes by and he's like, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you serious? You just missed it. That was the last one until I was so mad. I was like, you missed it because you were looking at grass. I swear I swear. I was like, I don't know how this was a thing. I was like, I don't think I've ever been once distracted by grass. Like, I don't know if they were like ribbing me or like they were just like messing with me. And I was like, I can't believe this. Like, I almost ate them. I would have ate them if it came down to it. I have a lot of road stories. I don't think I'm able to tell a lot of them though. So I will leave most of them up to them if they do interviews and let them talk about it. So,
Jonesy, do you have a question for Kyle?
I just have tons of respect for anyone that goes in the wrestling business, and the fact that you started your training at a place that I went to as a kid to see wrestling at. I seen pretty much everyone from the 80s except for Hogan in that building, and just keep entertaining us.
Well, thank you. If anything, I try to stay old school as old school as I can. I've always loved old school stuff, 80s, 90s. That's why you'll see me do a lot of these, just these like old style moves and like old style spots. I always try to keep it like plain and simple. And like if you ever watch the Brain Busters, they're kind of like what I aspire to be as a heel. So that and Chris Jericho, WCW.
You would fit right in with AEW.
Hey, you tell them that I'd be cool with it.
All right, very good. So Kyle Boone, we've got coming up March the 27th, taking place Fanshawe College here in London, taking on Tarek. March 28th, taking on Justin Sane. Is that right?
Yes.
Little Will Show from Midwestern Wrestling. Yep. How can people reach you online? I know I've got Twitter and Instagram up here. Anywhere else they can reach you?
I also have a Facebook page at the Kyle Boone. If anyone wants to email me for whatever reason, at the Kyle Boone as well. If you want to book me, and yeah, Instagram, Twitter at the Kyle Boone as well. So. Yeah,
no, I will note on Instagram it says DM him, but if you direct message him, probably expect a response probably a month later. Is that right?
Yeah, about at least a month. If you check, I literally got to my phone today. There was about 3,500 messages like on Facebook, about 20 on text, and 5 on Instagram. But I got to them. I still have one unread on Instagram. I know that. I see these things, but
I was gonna say, as long as you're not ignoring Shiloh, that's the main thing.
I'm not. She hits me. I'm not supposed to talk about it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we will leave it at that before we get in trouble.
Considering you did knock her over one time while she was pregnant, and I have that on video.
Yeah,
you're lucky to still be alive.
Yeah, I can't like that. That wasn't even planned or anything. That was just like I turned around. I'm like, ooh, she's down.
Tyson loved it.
Yeah, Tyson loved it. He thought it was hilarious. Everyone thought it was hilarious. I have it on I kept it on my story so people could see it forever.
All right, Kyle. Well, best of luck this coming month in your matches, and thank you very much for doing the show. And
awesome.
Anytime you want to be back, let us know. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks, Kyle. And that was the Wave Maker, Kyle Boone. Again, great interview with him. He is coming up at the end of the month, as well as other shows taking place. Check him out on Twitter at the Kyle Boone, on Instagram at the Kyle Boone, and on Facebook at the Kyle Boone. Guys, good interview. A little bit delayed, but is the joys of a live podcasting. Sometimes host disappears, sometimes guests don't show up on time, but it's all good. As always, as we do every week, we touch base on the podcast network. We've touched base with regards to us on Patreon. One thing we haven't talked about yet, and this is Sean's baby right here, the Scumbags of Wrestling. Sean, what's going on? And we just had Kyle Boone on the show. Are we going to see the return of the production line anytime soon?
I'm hoping the production line will return soon. Right now, Tyson, and I don't blame him, has been working on more of the fundamentals of the ring and getting his students more crisp and selling better, so that they can progress into areas such as Smash Wrestling or over in Bordertown and Midwestern Wrestling and Chem Valley. Like, he's wanting them to be prepared for being in front of a crowd. So unfortunately, at the moment, the matches have been secondary, and when I've been there, they haven't been doing any. As soon as we get some matches again, the production line will be returning to our Facebook and YouTube pages. But in the meantime, I still have the Ontario Indie Road Trip that happens on Fridays right now with event listings throughout Ontario. And of course, there's our Facebook page. Always keeping up to date with what's going on in the wrestling world, whether it's the main guys like WWE and AEW, plus the indie scene. We got covered. Today was Tyler Turva's birthday, so we gave him a shout out for his birthday. We covered that every morning, as well as doing the March Madness right now.
The only March Madness taking place, to my knowledge, anyways.
Very true.
And Tyler Turva was featured on Gut Check, I think they call it, on Impact Wrestling this past week. So it's kind of cool to see him on national television there. So it's Scumbags of Wrestling, facebook.com/groups/Scumbags of Wrestling. And I remember at one point, not too long ago, us being like, hey, I wonder if you can hit 400. And I think I looked today, you're up over 400. You're hitting towards that 500 mark at this point.
Yeah, we ended up this last little bit getting a lot of people wanting to be on board. I think at last count I saw this morning, it was like 421. And I have just recently approved people from Oregon, from California, like I think even one from Europe was approved. They're finding us finally. And yeah, we might be Canadian. We might highlight mainly Ontario Indie. But if people want to shout out to their own local stuff, regardless of it being Canadian or not, it's great. I welcome it. Because where else are you going to find out where the next stars are coming from? And
do you think it's possible it's Jones? Do you think he's the influence of those extra 21 people you got?
Anything's possible.
Jones, you got fans down in Oregon?
No, I don't. I do have some down in Florida, Mexico, and even St. Mary's, Ontario.
The metropolis of St. Mary's.
The metropolis of St. Mary's.
All right. I just want to, I shouldn't say put to rest, but we will touch base on what Jones was talking about earlier with regards to Comic-Con on a future show. Next week, I'm looking to line up a guest, depending on how this coronavirus thing goes. So we'll have to wait and see. I will announce it once it's confirmed, though. 2 weeks from tonight, we've got Doug and Clarence back from Midwestern Wrestling. We've already had the championship belt on the show. We've had the appearance by Nug on this show. Clarence has said there's a big announcement coming in 2 weeks. Sean, what do you think it is?
I wish I knew. Like, he's keeping it a surprise for all of us, which, yeah, I'm good with. I'm hoping to be able to contact them and start working out the logistics with the filming potential. And I've thrown out there of how I would like to help them with that. Their first show is on our Facebook, or was on our Facebook page, and definitely on our YouTube in 2 parts, the first and second half of the shows. And I'd love to be able to help get some more production done, whether maybe their announcement is what they threw out and they're getting something from local TV. I don't know. Like I said, they haven't told us anything yet. I know that's been a hope, like for Rogers or community TV type deal. If they have scored that, congratulations. And look forward to whatever the announcement is in 2 weeks.
So we'll look forward to having the guys from Midwestern Wrestling on the show in 2 weeks to obviously hype their second show. Like I said, coronavirus taking place, but they had released a statement earlier or on today with regards to nothing has changed. They'll keep fans updated, which is a good thing. Clarence just said, we want 10-pin Kyle Boone. That's going to be some kind of inside joke.
That was because of Tarek's announcing promo on Kyle, and he was dissing him for being the wave maker, and he's just like, no, you're more of a 10-pin Kyle Boone. You could be a bowler, not a surfer. So
it is interesting that they're going at it March 27th and in the same building March 28th. So we'll see if storylines, how they play out. But regardless of the fact, like Evil Uno had said, support your independent wrestling while this coronavirus is taking place. What am I missing?
Oh, just a message that came up. I think I actually know what that's for.
Okay.
Because I had sent Kyle a message before he came on, wondering if he was joining us, and just finally got a response saying no.
Oh,
clearly he's a liar.
So it wasn't. Anyways, we'll leave it at that. It's been a better show than last week, I tell you that much. But reach me, CWN. No, I'm saying this and I'm screwing up. Well, there we go. So CWNonline.ca is my website. All major news taking place, upcoming shows, results, anything I can give to you guys back as far as the coronavirus and cancellations, everything else. What a shit show, though, as I said in the beginning, as far as all the news taking place and what's taking place and what's not taking place. But like I said, support your Ontario independent wrestling scene or your Canadian independent wrestling scene. That is the best way to search us online as far as social media goes. So hashtag #WeAreCIW, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You'll find us all on there. I think that is it. Jones, what's going on with you? And are you coming back next week for all your fans there in Oregon?
Yeah, I'm available anytime you want me.
All right, that's probably a good and bad thing. Patreon.com/TN Throwdown CA is our new Patreon account. $5 a month gives you exclusive content and maybe even more Jonesy. So we'll have to wait and see. But anyways, it is a new thing for us. We'll see where it goes.
I'll definitely have the camera a little closer so I don't have to lean in.
Official website for the show, tnthrowdown.ca, and the official email address for the show, thursdaythrowdown@outlook.com. That is it. I think it's been the longest show to date, but we will blame Kyle Boone for that one. So not necessarily a bad thing, though. Anyways, be good to see him back in the ring because I know he was concussed a few months ago. So hopefully he does take it easy in the back-to-back shows coming up. Guys, anything you want to add before we sign off?
No, I think we had covered a lot of stuff. Considering a lot of things are being canceled, that's the most important thing, to cover that information instead of just looking back at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. So this has been episode 11, #coronavirus. So we will be back next week with episode 12. Like I said, I'm looking to line somebody up, and as soon as I do, you guys will know about it. If you're listening on audio, thank you very much. If you're watching on video, thank you very much. And to everybody out there in Facebook and YouTube land, thank you for watching us live, and we will see everybody next week.